Should we talk about the cutscenes?
Yeah, let's talk about the cutscenes. But we have been playing through Globs of Doom for February. Nicktoons Globs of Doom. Technically, it's called SpongeBob featuring Nicktoons Globs of Doom, which we'll get into that, but I think that's really dumb.
Choice. It's almost offensive.
I guess let's just get into the fact that, first of all, I've never played this game. I believe, Chester, you've played this game?
Oh, I've played this game a lot. Hold on. 2008. This was in the year of our Lord Simazagami. I can't believe it's called SpongeBob SquarePants featuring.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'll just mention that. I believe in other countries, I don't know what countries, but there were countries where all of the Nicktoons games were called SpongeBob featuring Nicktoons.
Really?
And for some reason with that last one, they were like, we're going to do that everywhere. And even though like the game, SpongeBob's like highlighted, but as we get into the story, well, like, I mean, it's just another Nicktoons game, realistically.
Yeah. He is important to the plot,
right? More
so than any other character, but yeah.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, like, he's involved in the plot very heavily, but, like, he's not as center stage as you would expect him to be for a game that they decided to name after him.
Well, I mean, compared to, like, my memories of the other games are shaky at the moment, but, like...
That's what I was going to say. I remember you said...
He's very minor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I almost wonder if it's more of a coincidence that he's more major in the plot, like I don't know that they really planned it to be called a SpongeBob game initially.
No, I don't think so.
I believe we kind of, I don't remember if it was an episode that we'll have released by this point, probably not, but you've never played Volcano Island, I think you said?
So I've played Nicktoons Unite for a video.
Mm-hmm.
I played the DS, like the first 2 levels or something, of the DS version of Attack of the Toybots. So I haven't played the console version of that. And I probably played the first hour of Volcano Island because I could never work out how to save it. So my experience is Nicktoons Unite and Globs of Doom. That's the one. So I played through it fully.
I got the original when it came out. I believe I might have rented it first. I can't remember. This was back in the days where Blockbuster still existed out here. I remember really enjoying it at the time, even though I really had only ever watched SpongeBob. Because I wasn't allowed to watch... I mean, I saw the Jimmy Neutron movie. I wasn't allowed to watch the Jimmy Neutron show. Wasn't allowed to watch Fairly Odd Parents. I don't think I had watched Danny Phantom at that point.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why I enjoyed it as much as I did, but it was a good time at the time. Although, going back to it now, it's like pretty grindy. Kind of a slog sometimes.
Yeah. These are not my favorite games in the world.
Yeah.
I will say, after playing this, I have a whole new appreciation for Dice of Destiny. I have a whole new appreciation for that game. Because it's short. Well, this one's also like 4 hours.
Right.
This one didn't feel like 4 hours.
With Volcano Island, I've dabbled in the console version, but I never had it as a kid. I had the DS version, which...
Hell yeah.
I felt like Jimmy was more involved in the DS version, from what I recall, but like the gameplay it was alright for what it was, but you know. And maybe someday we'll end up playing that for this show.
Yeah. I have a recollection of Attack of the Toybots having a really cool like first person segment where you would fight the other robot.
Right. We did, and in a episode of Bikini Bottom Inquirer last season, I included gameplay of that as we were talking about it.
Oh, did you?
And it looks significantly different than what Battle for Volcano Island was. Volcano Island was just a typical side scroller. And the Attack of the Toybots almost looked like more of a beat 'em up kind of thing.
It was interesting. I remember playing that in the car on our trips to Sydney and back as a kid. Anyway, that's the kind of history of Nicktoons.
And I did play, I was going to say real quick, I did also play Attack of the Toybots on the Wii. I don't know if I ever finished it.
Oh, you've played the proper version then.
Yeah, and never touched this one, so. It was interesting to dive in.
Was it worth the wait?
Nah.
All these years?
Nah.
No? What?
I was going to say my general thoughts for the end, but...
Let's get to general thought. I'm just going to say, for the longest time, for my early YouTube career. So 2016 to 2019, my SpongeBob career. I was a big defender of this game, and I played it for live streams and all that stuff. I don't fully know what I was smoking, what glue I was huffing, but this game is really boring, man.
This is a random tangent, but I went over. So my sister dragged me to her fiance's workplace. It's like a pizza place, and like to pick him up. And him and all the other like teenage employees were hanging out, just waiting to close. And this one girl just grabbed a bottle of Elmer's glue and just dumped it on the table and started like pushing it around, like trying to get it to dry. And just sitting there waiting for them to close, watching this girl play with glue on a table was, I feel like she might have been sniffing the glue a little bit beforehand. That's why I thought of it, because you said, dude, you didn't know what glue you were sniffing. Anyway, yeah, I guess before we get into it, I'll just say, personally, and I need to go back and play all the other ones, and I'm sure we will eventually. I feel like this is the weakest one out of the 4, and I feel like there's a reason why maybe it was the last one.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of a reason for the last one. So I haven't played in a long while. Playing on this, I played Dolphin version, so I was playing the Wii version. So one of the things that I experienced very early that really irritated me was the game's constantly swapping between normal playable with buttons and a joystick and needing motion controls in the dumbest situations. Okay? So most of the game you can get through just with normal controls. You can get through half of the menus with normal controls. The other half of the menus, you have to use motion controls.
Okay.
So you can get into settings, but to change stuff in settings, you need motion controls. So I was constantly swapping between like a normal controller and my mouse and keyboard. So the mouse is the pointer.
Right. Okay.
And I had to be constantly opening up the controller thing to reconnect it all to be the mouse and then connect it back to being the controller.
Sounds like a pain.
That was the sign.
I just booted it up in a PS2 emulator. Now that I have a decent computer, I can actually run a PS2 emulator properly. So I just played.
I know Dolphin better, so I was like, oh, this will be. I can work any issues out in Dolphin. I could not work the issues out in Dolphin.
It needed some tweaks. I ran into issues initially where I could not figure out what was wrong. I kept changing settings. It was like lagging behind weird. And come to find out, it was the HDMI cable was not connected properly or whatever. So that
Were you playing it on your TV?
Yeah.
I've had some lag sometimes with that method of.
And once I kind of figured out, used a different HDMI port, it started working perfect. So I'm able to run it at basically max settings. And so it was a pretty good experience, like visually. But
yeah, everything but the cutscenes was pretty good.
Yeah,
everything but the cutscenes. Should we talk about the cutscenes?
Yeah, let's talk about the cutscenes, because that's always been the biggest thing. When I've seen it in passing, you showed me some of it in that same episode back in the day, the Rugrats episode we did. The models in gameplay look fine for the most part. Yeah. Like they look like the typical Nicktoons Unite series models. The cutscene versions of the models disturb me on a level that I cannot explain, especially like Plankton and Jimmy. Patrick is really weird.
Patrick's proportions are all wrong.
Yeah, the way he's shaped.
They're all lightly moist.
Yes, like they have a sheet, especially Plankton.
Slightly oiled up, and I don't like it.
And I don't know,
really uncomfortable.
I don't know why, because they didn't do that in the other ones, and it looked fine. Like, were they trying to make it look better?
No,
I don't know.
HD. This is high definition on the Wii and PlayStation 2.
Right. I don't understand. Like, they all look very strange. One thing I noticed is the lip movements do not match the voiceover at all in most cases.
But I have been playing Expedition 33, the game of the year, and none of the lips line up on that, so...
Interesting. I remember that was so kind of one thing that I guess this doesn't really have anything to do with the cutscenes necessarily, but
that's okay.
I think this game is pretty low quality in general, and I kept finding myself thinking, why do people like and defend this game? But then, like, a lot of the same criticisms they give towards Revenge of the Flying Dutchman I kept running into in this game, like bad lip syncing and really rough looking models and stuff like that. Like,
do people defend this game? I always felt like I was one of the last soldiers.
I feel like in the circles I've been in, as far as like since I got into the Rehydrate Relief, I feel like a lot of the people who followed that group very much were fans of this series and of this game. Maybe I'm just thinking of you defending it, I don't know, but I feel like I've seen defense for this game.
Okay. Yeah, this is one of the most shovelware-y games. And I think that's one of the reasons probably why my opinion has changed on it is I have such little time nowadays in my life. And so the thought of playing this for 4 or 5 hours is just like...
Right. I mean, I never would have played it if it weren't for the fact that we were doing this series. And like even... I need to go back and play the other ones. I feel like the way the gameplay works is significantly different, but I guess maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Cutscenes and story in general. So it opens with these orange globs of... I always think of Nickelodeon slime. Like, even though Nickelodeon slime is green. Invading Bikini Bottom, I believe it opens on Bikini Bottom. And then Jimmy shows up and saves them and says, come with me. And they show up and they're like, oh, why are all the bad guys here? And he calls them this evil syndicate. And I remember thinking, that's not the evil syndicate. Because in Nicktoons Unite, the syndicate is Plankton, Vlad, Professor, whatever his name was, Crocker. And then in this game, they decided to just use some of the most random choices for characters. I guess at the
everyone
time
in this game is a little bit B tier,
and like heroes and villains, because it's like, I guess in this game the idea is, oh, you're playing as both the heroes and the villains. I don't think that was the case in any of the other ones that I can recall. But they didn't choose the big villains besides Plankton. They chose random. I do remember the ghost from Danny Phantom. He was kind of a significant character, but not nearly on the same level as the guy from the first one. I don't even know the chick from Jimmy Neutron. She just seems like generic leather-clad woman to me, and I don't know why.
It's beautiful, gorgeous.
Yeah,
she was in 3 episodes.
3 whole episodes.
3 whole episodes.
No trace
as a comic relief to another villain. That's right.
Oh, really? Okay.
She wasn't even the main villain of those ones.
And then, like, no trace of Fairly Odd Parents whatsoever. He got cut for whatever reason.
Lord.
It's strange though. It's like they have Danny Phantom, and even though Danny's in it, he's barely. Yeah, although that's how I was going to get to that. Danny is barely in it. For some reason, they chose this game to be the one they used Zim in, even though I don't think Invader Zim was that big at the time. I could be wrong.
No, I feel like a lot of this game was an attempt at marketing. Yeah,
right, and then like you said, TAC, which I think the show had become a thing briefly at that point, because this is very clearly based on the show version of TAC, not the game version of TAC. And then I don't even know who that other guy is who's from the TAC universe. I guess he's the villain of the show, maybe.
Yeah, it's beyond me.
So throwing in Zim and TAC, and then barely having Danny in there at all, not having any Fairly Odd Parents.
Zim makes up for a lot. Zim is very good. Zim is just a great character.
I do appreciate the inclusion of Zim, even though I wasn't a huge Zim fan. I think his world's cool, and I think having both of them be a part of the story was cool. It's everything else, and even like TAC is fine, but like having the Danny Phantom villain that they had and the Jimmy Neutron villain that they had was a strange choice.
Yeah, and I think that's like he's the main Danny Phantom villain. I think.
No, I don't. Not that. No, I don't think so. He's definitely a recurring one, but the main one would be Vlad, I would say, from Nicktoons Unite, which is why they used him in Nicktoons Unite. I don't know why they went and chose the people that they did, but then also it really bothered me, and I couldn't figure it out at first. I was like, how do I change my character? You don't change your character. They choose the character for you as you're going into each level.
Yeah.
And I was very off-put by that. I wanted to play who I wanted to play as, because that's how all the other games had been, from my recollection. You picked who you played as. The first one only had 4 playable characters, and you could just switch between them on the fly.
That's right, yes.
I believe Volcano Island, you could unlock characters as you went, and they had a lot more options, like playing as Sam from Danny Phantom, or I think you could play as Patrick. And like Patrick's important to the plot, but I don't believe you can play as him at any point.
I don't think so.
And then I think later in the game they kind of addressed that. They're like, "Why aren't you out there fighting?" And he's like, "I was scanned by the machine and it gave me a chocolate bar or whatever." Like that was all he got.
Yeah. So just to touch on, some of the positives before we get to it. The first thing that hits you, like from splash screen on, this is probably some of the best music, I think, in any of the Nicktoons Unite games. I love the B-movie, like, 40s, 50s horror movie, like, style music. I love it. It is such a big thing for me. I loved all of the music throughout the game. That was the one thing you drop into a level where I'm like, I have no idea what mud-coloured spot you've dropped me in of some random show that I don't know. But at least the music is busted.
The worlds kind of blend together. In SpongeBob, in Bikini Bottom, I remember feeling like the music seemed kind of weak. But I don't recall very much about... I mean, it felt just as generic as the other worlds to me as I was going through the later worlds. Like, especially, like... I mean, Zim's world was cool, and the music fit, so it didn't really feel out of place, but it didn't really stand out to me or anything.
Jimmy Neutron's world irritated me a great deal.
I want to talk about that world, but that's a lot later, so I was going to save that. So, as far as game structure, they open with a weird little tutorial world.
Yeah, inside the base.
Then you dive into Bikini Bottom, and you chase down Bubble Bass, who I think is literally only used because D. Bradley Baker was already playing the Hermit Crab, so he was around, and they knew that they would have him in or whatever. And in general, I feel like it's a lot.
Like, it's cool seeing all that.
I was gonna get to that, but I was gonna say in general, I remember feeling like there was a lot of open, empty spaces. There's this one part where you're walking down the street and a bus comes, and I just remember thinking, wow, there's a lot of just space here and not a lot of enemies to fight here. I also remember thinking pretty much all the characters feel like they play the same, besides their specials are slightly different, but even then a lot of their specials are the same thing.
But also on the space stuff, you move really quite slowly, and they have constantly these slime pools that make you move even slower. So you're in these kind of empty areas except for enemies that you slowly crawl through, and then you reach slime, and then you just let me through something.
And it's like they're trying to make
another open area.
I feel like it's like they're trying to make it more difficult, but it really is just annoying. And fighting, I mean, all the enemies, I think maybe later in the game they start introducing some more, but they're all basically the same thing. Like the big tall guy, and then the little ones that go die in one hit, and then eventually they introduce, I don't know if he was like psychic or had powers or something, I can't remember. There was one that was more slender that kind of stood at a distance and attacked you.
And you got the big guys as
jellyfish. That's true, the big guys are at least a little bit more interesting. The big giant four-legged creatures. I guess on top of that, and then we get to the boss fight. And the boss fight was, for Bubble Bass specifically, was odd, where you're just kind of fighting enemies, and then I couldn't even figure out what I was. That's one thing that I have a problem with this game, is it doesn't explain what I'm supposed to be doing very well. I couldn't figure out that I needed to do the Krabby Patty thing. I couldn't figure out how to do the Krabby Patty thing, to fling them at Bubble Bass. I would press it and it wouldn't do it. I had to hold it or whatever, and it didn't explain.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I underestimate the fact that I've played it before.
Yeah.
So
also, we didn't mention, when it drops you into a level, you have to go through a slide through the portal or whatever.
Yeah.
And with SpongeBob, he's sliding on his tongue like he does, and so it's just a worse version of the Battle for Bikini Bottom slide segments.
Yeah. I don't understand why these games need these.
And collecting the coins in general, it's you can upgrade your characters, I guess, but I didn't really find myself doing that very often. I felt like you needed a lot of coins, and when you're upgrading characters, I believe it's individual characters, and you can only use certain characters in certain levels, so it didn't seem like
if you could pick what character you were using, I think you would care a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a replay option.
I could be wrong. Maybe you can. Maybe it is just a general upgrade, but I feel like when I remember upgrading it, I only did it for SpongeBob, and I feel like I remember seeing that it was SpongeBob specific, but I could be very wrong there. Correct me in the comments.
All the SpongeBob Encyclopedia people start coming out.
All the fan wiki people making crap up. They're like, oh, actually,
we're here for a good time and to spread misinformation.
Yeah,
that's what we're here for. Yeah, so boss battles are at least kind of the highlight of the game, just for the fact that you're getting something different.
They're at least different. You know, kind of who they choose as boss fights are interesting.
Yeah, more characters I don't know.
Grr.
I know Grr, yeah.
I know Grr.
Dog.
And then like Ghost Dog, which I've seen all of Danny Phantom and I don't remember Ghost Dog, but...
Okay, so I'm not just missing like a major character or something.
That seemed like a deep cut. And then, so I guess we go through different worlds. You start with Bikini Bottom, and then after you go through Bikini Bottom, they're like, the Hermit Crab Man is like, hey, follow me. Look at this robot thing that I have. It needs 4 pieces of something to power it, and then you can go stop this alien force or whatever. So now you're collecting 4 different things. So you go to Zim's world, you collect a taco, I believe. I think Amity Park is next.
Give me the taco.
And Amity Park, I can't remember what it is in Amity Park. Jimmy Neutron's world, Attack's world, and is that? Yeah. I guess that would be it.
Let's talk about Retroville. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's
okay,
talk
so
about
I was gonna say, it seemed, especially because we just recorded an episode last week, which will not have released by the time this goes up, about the Jimmy Neutron movie. It seemed to me, unless there was some parts of the show that I missed, that at least the first part of this and the boss fight itself was very much more referencing the movie than it was the show.
Well, yeah. I was really racking my brain on it. The mall does not appear in the show
mall
ever.
Is that the okay? Because
like
I was going to say
where the boss battle happens.
Oh, okay, the boss battle. Because I was going to say the first part of the level, I couldn't remember if it was. I can't remember what the boss battle itself is. Besides the fact that it's the girl eating plant. Does the plant ever appear in the show, or is it? Because I know that was
it's in the background in the lab only. Ever. Okay, that's its only appearance.
It's a big part of the movie, at least. Because it's like, oh, my girl eating plant, and then it attacks Cindy later in the movie or whatever. But also, the opening part, I'm assuming that's supposed to be the theme park from the movie.
Yes, which also only appears in maybe 2 or 3 episodes across the entire show. So it's also,
okay, so it is also in the show. Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting.
As big of a thing.
Especially after we just talked about the movie, how it seemed like maybe they were going back to the movie to kind of take a lot of this material, besides the fact that this random woman is the villain.
It really irritated me of just like, you can't you're playing through all the other characters so you can see your character's level, basically. Like that's not every kid is going to have watched all these shows. They most likely have watched 1 or 2. So you're playing through the other ones to get to the ones you know. And as a kid, that was the case. Like you play through Zim to get through. You got SpongeBob at the start, so you're mint there. I would say though with SpongeBob 1, the stuff in the cinema.
It took me a while to figure out I rescued Squidward first, and I was like, why isn't the portal opening? I didn't realize that there were bonus characters to rescue that would. And then I was like, oh, Patrick's here. I have to save him. So.
Yeah. But you play through to get to these ones, and then with the Jimmy Neutron, it was like there's just so many good locations and good characters that could be the villain, like could be the monster, and all this stuff, and you just choose the worst stuff. And I was like, what's the point? I
feel like they really dropped the ball. There was one part in the SpongeBob world where the bus is going and it kind of I guess we're in rock bottom or whatever. It starts going up a vertical, like how it is in rock bottom where it starts going up vertical. And I thought, oh, this will be interesting. I have to platform up now. But no, you just fight enemies in a slightly smaller space, and you can't even jump up onto the seats to go vertical. I thought that was going to be a much more interesting segment than it was. And I feel like that just shows how the gameplay itself is pretty boring. It's just punch, okay platforming at best.
And you kind of have this idea of, I think that's one of the big issues, the game being so ugly. All the locations just start to meld into one. Just more and more and more. And that's one of the reasons why I do appreciate the ending and the final boss battle, because you're in space and all that. It is at least different. It feels different.
Right, we'll get to that. But I was going to say, at least in comparison to the other games, I remember Nicktoons Unite. The levels were very long, but at least they were all different themes. You had some variation in what each character could do. There was a little bit more thought put into progression. Like, use Danny to break this thing and press this switch, or they all had very individualized abilities.
Yeah.
And each of them had to do special things. Volcano Island, again, I've only dabbled in the console version, but I'm assuming they're all the environments probably blend together since they're all jungles.
And Attack of the Toybots on the DS was all just different factories, basically.
That would be the same with Attack of the Toybots as well, as it's all a factory. So at least what this has going for it is that they are visiting other worlds, but like you said, they all kind of blend together after a certain point.
Yeah. And there's cool stuff in the levels. Like, I didn't hate the Jimmy Neutron one. Like, as a fan, I do appreciate it. But it's just,
I kind of stopped looking for secrets.
It feels all B tier options. Like, we've already done the A tier options, so now we're doing the B tier options. B tier villains, B tier characters, B tier bosses, B tier locations.
Well, I was just gonna say, I kind of stopped looking for secrets, but I remember in Bikini Bottom I kept finding little secrets. Like, there's one part where you can go down a pipe and you end up on the island from the opening of the show. Maybe at some point, but it was just
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I accidentally stumbled upon it. It was like, you collect the trophies to unlock cheats or whatever. And they say unlock cheat codes. It's not really a code at that point, but whatever. Semantics. So, and then like Tax World, it's just the jungle world, which I still kind of enjoyed that world a little bit, because it kind of reminded me.
It's at least visually different.
It reminded me of like Royal Ransom or Deep Jungle in Kingdom Hearts. And then after that, I guess it really gets into story stuff, so we should probably go back and kind of talk about what the story is in general.
What's the story?
So it opens with this alien invasion. All the villains and heroes team up to stop this alien invasion, and then
it looks like Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Wow. So
when the slime touches people, they kind of get brainwashed by this goop, the globs. But then they kind of discover that SpongeBob appears to be immune.
Yeah.
But then, like, 5 seconds later, he starts speaking with another creature's voice. Over time, as he keeps getting doused in more of the goo, it becomes more of a prevalent problem where, like, he's possessed by this alien hive mind, and the alien creature's communicating through him. And I mean, just in general, over time, that's really the only plot that there is that they'll do something in a world, and then the alien talks through SpongeBob. And at a certain point, he's like, "Oh, I like you. You're happy and kind, you happy sponge creature," or whatever. And he's like, "I'm gonna become you. You're me now. I'm not letting you go," or whatever. And then after they collect all the pieces, get the robot, they all head out to fight
whoop his ass.
Globulus, whatever his name is. Globulus something.
Is it Globulus Prime?
I don't think it's Prime. I want to say Globulus Prime because Optimus Prime.
SpongeBob Globs of Doom. Globulus Maximus. It's the same thing.
And how do you feel about that final boss fight?
Music, I like. The setting, I like. This game is inseparable in a lot of ways from the fact that I played it as a kid. And this was one of the first games I ever was able to beat on my own.
Okay.
And so I actually beat this boss on my own. And so there is a level of inner triumph still connected with me of like, I actually beat that game type of thing. It's easy. Like, you're just whooping his ass.
I don't care for the boss fight in general. I felt like it was pretty generic.
Yeah,
I didn't.
it wasn't.
I mean, at least it's different than what like other gameplay in the game has been. But and I'm like trying to look at it from your perspective, where it's like I brought up Revenge of the Flying Dutchman earlier because I feel like it's a good comparison. Where that's a game I grew up with, and so like it's easier for me to look.
That's
past
not even a fair comparison. I've replayed that Revenge of the Flying Dutchman recently. There is a lot to enjoy and find engaging about that. This
right,
one,
whereas this is very repetitive and who developed I don't know. This? Didn't
Incinerator Studios. Yeah, and I think
so. You go ahead.
You just compare it as well to like something like Creature from the Krusty Krab, that they have boss sequences, but they're more like these kind of cinematic experiences. They're really tied in with the levels. They're quite grand little experiences. Like you think of the Plankton Chasers and all that. I feel like that's what they're trying to go for here with that like classic horror movie feel, but it is just a beat 'em up.
Mm-hmm. And there's not like a lot of
like that.
There's not a lot of like interesting shake up to the game. Like if it was a beat 'em up, that's fine, but they don't change things up.
Yeah,
as it goes.
Also,
on.
This developer didn't develop the other Nicktoons games.
I thought that might have been the case, and that might be why they kind of changed up how they did it. Like gameplay wise, because it's like two characters.
Also the animation.
You don't get to select the characters, and then even though they're using the same models, they really made them all shiny in the cutscenes. Oh my god,
they made Cars 2000.
Did they? I thought that was a Avalanche Software game.
Maybe the Wii version.
The Wii version specifically. So they beat the Slime Man, and then the villains end up kind of like conspiring behind the scenes and being like, hey, even though one of the, I guess, the kid from Zim isn't exactly a villain, but he's the villain to Zim, and Zim is the main character. So.
I'm really confused because all of Zim I've watched is the movie. Yeah. And the new movie for Netflix. And in that, the kid is the main character. Yeah. And Zim is the world-destroying villain.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've really only seen that movie as well. I've not really gotten deep into the show. So
Sam!
It was strange.
Sam! What?
Yeah. But anyway, all the villains conspire. Yeah. You've talked about that on the show before. The villains conspire. They're like, let's kidnap Globulus and use him for our evil plans or whatever. And they kick all the heroes out and run off. I don't know where they run off to, because all the heroes go and talk to the slime guy, or Globulus Maximus, and you come to find out he's really not evil, or at least guy. So he's just kind of misunderstood. He's like, I don't want to be used for evil. Just I was created at the beginning of the universe in the Big Sneeze. Like Jimmy's like the Big Bang, and he's like, no, the Big Sneeze. And then you see like this celestial life form god, I guess, sneeze him out, and you come to find out he is literally just a celestial booger, basically.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Came to me in that moment. The loading screen goes crazy hard in this game. The silhouette of the creature with the lightning and all that is like that goes so hard for such a lame end boss.
I wish they would have like had more than
the entire time you're building him up. Is so cool.
So he's this whole time he's just been a misunderstood booger, and he's not really a bad guy or whatever, and he really admires SpongeBob, and that's kind of how we got in what we were saying about how SpongeBob's kind of central to the plot. Is the alien uses him to communicate, and also he really seems to grow attached to SpongeBob. And then in the end, they team up, and he transforms into SpongeBob. Basically, like he becomes shaped like SpongeBob.
It's weird.
It's weird. You're just like staring like. No, it is.
I'm not a big fan.
Stalkery.
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it. It's not my favorite. It was not my favorite. I was like, you design. We're gonna get the design from the loading screen. No, it's big SpongeBob.
I feel like it's almost a predictable twist. Like, not him becoming SpongeBob, but like, oh, he was never the villain all along. It was
The villains.
Just a whole misunderstanding, and the villains that we've been playing as and playing with, they're gonna ruin everything, and so now you have to go stop them. But
I think as a kid, I wasn't surprised. I was just disappointed. I remember I was like, "Damn it, Plankton!" Every time.
Dang it, you creepy little shiny malformed Plankton. That's another thing we never addressed, is that in this game, for whatever reason, he becomes the size of everyone else just so that they didn't have to like build out a robot suit or something for him to use. Like, it just becomes normal size.
He's like the size of the lima bean from like season 1 of Jimmy Neutron. But yeah, so they beat up the little guys. And realistically, it's the last game of the series.
Well, the last fight
comes to an end.
Is just like a kaiju fight, but not really. You're just punching the ship you were just playing in over and over until it's over. It really wasn't that.
It's like the ending of Death Stranding.
I've never played it.
Literally, the end of it's not the end, but it's one of the last fights in the game is you and the big villain that have had all these huge kaiju battles and all that. It's you guys just standing in the ocean, and literally the fighting game health bars appear above your heads, and you're just punching each other, and it's really depressing.
But yeah, I mean, it ends. In general, I remember writing down a note that I felt like some of those cutscenes were more eerie than Revenge of the Flying Dutchman to me. Like, especially the one where they walk in and first find Bubble Bass, and he's like, I love Krabby Patties. And then there's just this stretch of silence. And then SpongeBob like, no! And then he eats the crab. Like, there's just these weird, awkward pauses during the cutscenes sometimes. But,
yeah, I do love that early CGI era. There's something beautiful about it.
So we've already kind of mentioned it. Neither of us like this game very much at this point, which surprises me, because you were excited to play this. You were like, yes, this is a great game.
I was very excited to play this.
And now we've kind of flipped.
So I was really excited to play it. The realization came in the SpongeBob level. You know, when you walk past SpongeBob's house, you know, the first thing you do in the level?
There's a little shiny thing, and I couldn't figure out what the shiny thing was supposed to be until I was like, oh, it's a health pickup later on, but yeah.
Yeah. You know, you're walking past there and you fight like the first 4 or 5 enemies. I was like,
that's the game.
This is shit.
And that's the whole game.
After the sliding thing, I was like, man, this is bad. Yeah. And then I did that first little round to find people, and then having to sludge through the slime. I was like, and then the enemies that take 20 hits to kill. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
This is bad. No.
I am curious.
Started.
I would like to know, and maybe we'll figure it out eventually, what the other versions of this game are like. Like, are they any better?
I'm interested, yeah. Do we want to give this game a rating of some type to base all the other games that we play off?
Should we do a scale of 5 or 10?
I think 10, or you could do like a grade, like a paper, like an essay or something, like A+, B+.
Okay.
Because it's a club. It's like a book club. You know?
Right.
I give it 1 Wuthering Heights with Margot Robbie. And the guy from Frankenstein.
I'm not going to say it's the worst game I've ever played. I think there are some redeeming things about it. On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe like a 3.5 on a good day. If I were getting a letter grade, like D-.
D-?
Or D, I guess. Maybe D.
Okay. Yeah, I think here's the thing. I will never play this game again.
Yeah, that's fine.
Unless it's for like a challenge.
Or like you have children and you're like, hey, look at what I used to play. Look at this.
There are better SpongeBob games for that. That's the problem. I'll be like, hey, check out Employee of the Month on PC.
And I guess
it's bad. Are we doing numbers or are we doing letters? Numbers? Okay. We'll do numbers.
Let's just do a number scale.
I will give it I love the music. I'll use the music in videos. I'll give it a 3 out of 10 as well. Never play again.
3 out of 10, never play again.
That's true. Okay, 2 out of 10. I'm never going to play it again. It's just for the music.
So you kind of mentioned there are better SpongeBob games, and you were kind of starting to get into that, how this is the last Nicktoons game it was sort of a SpongeBob game in title. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the other Nicktoons games were called SpongeBob games in other countries as well, but they just went all out. You mentioned Seema Zargami was in charge. I don't know if that had anything to do with
I think
it.
Seema Zargami was just in charge of Nickelodeon.
You would think, looking at the... I'm trying to pull up the... Okay, so the DS gameplay looks kind of like what I remember from Globs of Doom. It actually looks like it might be a little bit more interesting.
2006 till 2018, so she would have been in charge for the breadth of this. It was just the process of literally them just weeding out the entire game development aspect. Then just being like, this isn't worth it. Either make it SpongeBob or get rid of it.
Yeah, and I don't know if did Nick's priorities shift? Did this game was it that bad? I don't usually like to say that because a lot of people were like, this SpongeBob game was so bad that it ruined this company. This Nicktoons game was so bad that it was the last one they ever made or whatever. Like, I have a feeling it's more that they were already moving away from games in the first place.
Yes,
at that
absolutely.
point.
I think this game may have been because it wasn't given the time or budget or anything. Its failing was then correlated as a reason to not do more of them.
Right, and maybe it went with a different developer. When did THQ go under?
This is still THQ. THQ was 20, I believe, 2013, 2014.
I was just thinking maybe they like picked someone cheaper. But weren't the original ones like THQ Australia or something?
Don't recall, but they renewed their deal with Nickelodeon by this stage to continue working with them as a publisher. But they probably went with a cheaper developer.
Yeah, it's a strange choice. I don't think it was the right choice. And I would like to know whose decision it was to have this beautiful, gorgeous woman, because it's just the professor guy. Like having not watched Jimmy Neutron, I knew who he was. I knew he was important. I don't know who this woman is. Couldn't tell you anything about her, except that I recognize her voice actor and I can't remember her name.
Yeah, it's a weird choice. I don't like it. Also, this is after Jimmy Neutron finished, so like there were other.
And that's also weird too, because he was bare. I don't think he was really even involved in like Volcano Island. I don't know how much he was involved.
Was he just on the radio or something?
Yeah, like he was like he was like in the background, and I don't know if he was in Toybots or not. I can't recall.
He was in Toybots. He was a pretty big character in Toybots, I think.
Okay, so he was important in Toybots. Okay, good. But then like he seems like a very big focus in this one again. But then cutting out, I know you're all like, yes, screw Timmy Turner, but it's just a strange choice. Like, I don't know if they didn't want to pay, like if they had to pay Butch Hartman or something, and so they only used one of his characters or something.
Don't pay him twice, just pay him the one time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
well,
that's our review.
That is episode 1 in the books. I hope you guys played along with us, and I hope you'll continue to. Let me pull up the wheel, and we can we can figure out what we're going to be playing for March. So quick technical difficulties. We're back with the wheel. So let's just spin it, and hopefully it's not another Nicktoons game, because I don't know if I can stomach another.
Yeah, baby. Let's play a Wii. All right, let's do this. Please be something I know. Please be something I know.
Be something. I don't need it to be something I know, but oh my god.
Oh, the era of slop continues.